welcome to the Beacon by Soul 33, teachings for your past, present and future. Good morning everybody. It is the 16th of December here in New Zealand. I'm sitting outside today because I was really called to do this, to be outside in nature, to experience what is just naturally going on around me. So you're going to hear waves, you're going to hear birds, you're going to hear people, but it is a beautiful day and we've got a lot to talk about. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, on Spotify, on the app, don't forget to like, tag, subscribe, do all the things. I love reading your comments, so keep sharing and letting people know that this platform exists, because it really helps me to be able to create more resources for you. I can't believe the lead up to Christmas is here, but this week we've got some really important things going on, and I've been absolutely loving getting the dragonfly stories, the elephant stories, and you know, it's still part of the energy, and this is why it's coming up, where I haven't actually seen a dragonfly in physical reality. Remember, it came to me as a vision, as a frequency, and that's when I started sharing it. And then people were letting me know that, you know, Robert Edward Grant was bringing it up. And so it's a thing. It's a very highly attuned creature that has lived on this planet for more than 300 million years. It knows the evolution from the beginning of time. It knows what we are needing to see through compound vision. Now, as you are journaling or writing down what you hear, the best way to use these Monday mantras is by listening to them at least 3 times a week, because I, along with you, I receive this information, I receive this knowing, but I'm a human being. I'm also applying it and looking at what it means in my own life. So as you hear me talk about the Monday mantra and the recap of the previous week, even though we can just keep going backwards and recapping, because all of them merge into the other. They're all telling a story. It's building layers and layers upon our soul progression and for our soul progression. So when we look at last week's Monday mantra, it is, I'm grounded in the present. This moment is what I take pride in. And this is part of why I'm sitting outside, grounded in this present moment with you, grounded in nature. And I am actually very, very proud that we are all here together taking this time where we know that I'm here every week without fail to be able to share something with you, to share a transmission, to give you a shift, to bring you back to what Spirit is asking us to do, but also proud that you're all listening and that you're all trying and working this out in your life. That is something to be grounded in this moment, to evaluate and look at what we've got in front of us. There is a lot of rushing around at the moment. Things are coming to an end. This could be, you know, people finishing up work, people ending relationships. All of these ends are coming in and people are departing. They may be going away on journeys. They may be departing as in their end of their lives, and their souls are leaving their bodies. And these new wiser souls are coming in and preparing to arrive. Now, what I mean by that now, as I've gone through the week and received my upgrades and downloads from Spirit through when I work with clients and just for myself, these new wiser souls are us. It's like as we go through with these cycles closing and opening, we are also waiting to arrive. We are also empowering ourselves into more wisdom through what is happening in our lives now. That's how we learn, right? Like someone said to me last week, so many of us, and I am guilty of this too, living in the past, living in the future. And so now it's really time for this new wiser version of us to arrive. And this is why Spirit is going, embrace the now, embrace the present moment. And I have to admit, there were a few times last week where I struggled with that, particularly on the 12/12 portal, because we did have the 12/12 portal. It was Thursday here last week in New Zealand when the 12/12 portal was happening, where the frequency and the light codes were coming in, and I felt very uncomfortable. I felt almost disturbed. I felt pressure. I felt like I needed to be cleansing myself, and I did, and I'll talk to you a bit more about that in a moment. It was a powerful energy, but some of us may have been disturbed by the energy because it's also coming in with the full moon, which we've still got the energy at the beginning of this week, but it's to cultivate, like when when we are disturbed like that, I had to find my stillness. I had to find the space and the reflection on what I need to do right now. And amidst the chaos in the world, because I kept seeing the world when I was talking to you last week, it's crucial to realize there is no actual lead up to what is next, because we've only got now. Yes, there are other dimensions where the past is influencing us. Yes, our decisions now impact the future, but we are really, because of the time that we are in, because of the energy that we have around us, it is the now. And the energy from the 1212 portal, it serves as an upgrade for us. So if you were destabilized, if you were feeling upset, if you were feeling the pressure of life, it is because we had to come back to the Monday mantra of being grounded in the present moment, to being grounded in what we've got now, and to allow the gifts to be received, being in receptive mode. Mercury retrograde, thank goodness, has come out of retrograde and gone direct, which means that brains will be working a bit better, communication a little bit more open. And while these complex energies have been affecting us, they really are there to help us release things, to figure out new ways of communication, and to really identify what is our mind misleading us on, listening to other people too much, and coming back to what our body is telling us, coming back to what nature is telling us. And it is a time now to avoid distractions, even though we are being very distracted, and I can feel that too, being distracted by day-to-day life and all of the things, our phones, our devices, all of that. But that's why Spirit's like, come back to the stillness, come back to the groundedness. What are you proud of in this moment? And I'll tell you what I was proud of during last week, because I was going along with the Monday mantra along with you. Being gentle with ourselves is so important. Like, there was, 12/12, I was feeling very vulnerable, and I had to be quite gentle with myself and not forcing myself to do things that I normally would do, because this is a challenging month for most. Those of us who are here will be very sensitive to the collective consciousness of people struggling with this at this time, making life decisions, reevaluating their lives. And while this is an important time, it's a time of loss for people, what was perceived as human loss. It's a time that presents opportunities. It's a time that presents growth. And depending on how we choose to perceive it, it's either going to be holding us back or moving us forward, but it comes from that grounding presence now. Spirit did ask us to reflect on our beliefs. I noticed some old belief systems coming out, which I had to address, and they can act as obstacles or they can facilitate the manifestation of your desires. So how have your beliefs been affecting your manifestation of desires? And looking at your beliefs now, being grounded in the present moment. Embrace this opportunity right now that we have to transform what is presenting itself into greater love and understanding. And I noticed that because there were times last week when I was being really hard on myself, and I noticed that some of my other healer friends, everyone's being really hard on themselves, because obviously the type of clients that we're also attracting to us, they have got their own challenges, and so we're working extra hard to help you. But in that, we are also, discovering more about what human existence means. How are we meant to be living? What are we meant to be doing? Are we waiting? Are we going? But really right now, regardless of how busy we are, it's about coming back into the present, coming back and grounding ourselves, reflecting on the beliefs based on what is going on around us. And this last week has held immense potential for personal development. I had a meltdown. I really did. On the 12/12, I had a complete meltdown. And obviously when I melt down, it's not just for me. Obviously I've got my own things too, but it's also for the collective. And it was how we were going to use that, however it was manifesting for you, to develop ourselves and inviting ourselves to take steps that are aligned with our actions and our intentions, enabling ourselves to create a future we can be proud of by being proud of the now. We can't actually move forward without being proud of who we are now. And I'm not talking about ego pride. I'm talking about pride of just enjoying that I'm taking this moment for myself. This is a simple thing that I need to do. This is who I am right now. This is how far I've come. All of those things are serving as the potential, as a catalyst for the future by being in the now. Now, as we moved through the week, there was things that we needed to remember, which was to stay, to be clearly looking through that spiritual lens, through the dragonfly compound lens, because like I said earlier on in the last couple of Monday mantras, pieces of the mosaic are coming out for us to really examine how they are part of the bigger picture, because those mosaic bits that are coming out are actually making us be present, because we have to deal with things in the now. So the action to do something that allows you to feel present and proud of being in this moment, what was it for you? For me, I'm going to tell you that shortly, because it's one of the posts that came after introducing the Monday mantra for last week. Before I get to that, Spirit has been bringing up a lot of lost souls for me, and lost souls while I'm working with clients. And I wanted to share this because it's part of the DNA activation and upgrade we're all getting in our own way, through the light codes that are coming in, through the dragonfly energy, through Ganesha moving the obstacles out of the way. And when I was working with someone, Ganesha literally came in and went into the uterus of this woman that I was working on, and the soul of the child was standing there. And it's like Ganesha is coming in to assist by placing himself in the uterus, in the area of creation, and symbolizing that there's an enhancement of fertility going on, that as I facilitate these souls to connect to the parents, be it mother or father, that this is actually an obstacle that is being moved out of the way with Ganesha's help. When I'm doing the spiritual work for people, it's physically helping people conceive or be reunited with children, whatever that means for you. And when we are on earth, we're only seeing what's going on here. But souls can have fragments in other places. So your child that you're trying to conceive, or you're trying to reconnect with here on earth, if you're having issues with a child, it's like these placements now, astrologically, are enabling us to connect with the soul of that person. Because that, for me, how I create movement with my life and other people when they come to see me, is that we're dealing with the energy first. Because like I mentioned to you last week, I see things first and then they manifest in reality. And that may take years for some people to see anything come into fruition, because there is no time in the universe. So having this fresh perspective of the dragonfly vision, knowing that evolution is now being impacted in a positive way by this upgrade of DNA, and knowing that Ganesha is sitting in the area of creation, whatever that means to you, to remove certain obstacles, to bring you closer back to your inner child. Remember the play, to bring you back to a child that you're trying to connect with here on earth, or even if you've got a child that's passed away, or you are actually allowing yourself to be in that receptive mode to bring in a new child for you. And as we move through the week, the soul progression card that I picked for the week was the new direction. And on that day when I picked it, it was like this real shift in energy, and I truly felt and feel it still, even though 12 was a bit of a, quite an emotional day for me. The card of new direction came up when I was feeling this energy come up, that we are being encouraged to stay grounded in the present, because there's so much going on around us. But that is also because there's a new path that is unfolding, and it's coming from being still. It's coming from being in the present. And when we are still, we can actually see. We can see what the universe is guiding us towards. We can receive the signs. When we are moving too quickly, when we're focused too much on the past or too much in the present and the future, we are unable to see. So before the 12/12 portal, that energy of like something exciting's happening, which I mentioned that I can feel as an underlying energy. It's like being present now. We're opening ourselves to receiving rather than constantly seeking, and allowing a new direction to take shape. Information is on its way. We're being given this information every day. Those of you who've been sending me dragonflies on mugs and on babies' jumpsuits and all of those things, they are messengers. We don't need to be seeing it in real life. And you don't need to be also seeing these signs yourself. You're hearing it through me. So very important there that a new direction is coming in, regardless of whether you're feeling that or not. I am. I mentioned Hanuman last week because he came to me, and he came to me again on the 12/12 portal, and when I was feeling destabilized and finding it very hard to ground. And I heard him say to me, which is for all of us, don't worry, I'm here to protect you. He came with his Gada, which is his weapon, and it was like, I'm here to protect you. And that day, I couldn't even find my swimsuit. I actually ended up throwing myself into the ocean with my underwear on because I couldn't find anything. But I was actually in this desperate state of just cleansing the collective consciousness of pressure. And so I felt him carry me down there because I wasn't even focused. I was feeling very ungrounded with the full moon coming up that we've just had, which is still affecting us in the beginning part of this week. But it was that overwhelming pressure of time, like the holiday rush, the unmet life milestones, that destabilizing feeling of, am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right place? Should I do this? Should I do that? It's like the antidote now is the anchor that we've all been seeing and feeling for us, is to anchor in the present moment. So when I took myself into the ocean, I wasn't meant to find my swimsuit. I was just meant to take my top and my pants off and just get in the ocean, acting in the now. And for that, I am proud, because I would normally never do that. Like, even though I'm near the ocean, I'm not always in it. And I really just followed my instinct of like, I needed to be cleansed. And what I want to say here too is that there's a lot of home stuff coming out. What does home mean to you? So you may find yourself like you're needing to spiritually clear your home. You might be finding that you're cleaning your home, or that needs to be done. It's all part of being grounded in where you live, including your body, because my vessel needed to be cleansed on the 12/12 portal. And sometimes, coming from a person who does spiritual work full time, it can be so overwhelming to be, analyzing all the time and healing all the time. And that day, Spirit was like, just do away with everything. This is what being grounded in the present means. It means just doing away with all the spiritual jargon. It means not having the pressure and just allowing ourselves to be. If we felt sad, if we felt fear, just moving it aside and being, right, I'm here now. And that's not bypassing anything. It's just like, what can I come back to myself with? And then I ended that post with a quote, which has obviously been translated from Sanskrit, where Hanuman says, where there is faith, miracles happen. Where there is faith, miracles happen. And this is connected to the lost children that I've been talking about and alluding to, because I'm talking about it from a one-on-one personal perspective, but I'm also talking about there are lost children in the world. And by us piecing things together, they are being reunited spiritually or physically with their families and parents, like when I was in Uluru and all of that transpired there. Your wider meaning of the Monday mantra. It becomes difficult to stay grounded in the present when we listen to peripheral information that isn't relevant to the now and allow it to affect us. Our human tendency is to fixate on what we can't control, because controlling lady number one here, fixate on, I can't control that, I can't do anything about that, and then get upset about it rather than being grounded in the now, is that what we truly seek is to turn inward and attune ourselves to our own inner guidance for direction. And it's more important now than ever to be in this present moment, to not get ourselves thrown off track, to not be caught up in all the insights and everything everywhere, because everyone can predict everything, but life is just going to life anyway. There are going to be things that are unpredictable. There's going to be our human emotions that get in the way. It's how we can be grounded in who we are and being in the present and enjoying what we have, being proud of just being outside, taking the time to do what we need to do. Remember, I'm always here for you, but I am only one person and doing my very best to see as many of you as I can. And there are varying ways to connect with me. Mini readings are a good way to ask some brief questions if you're needing some acute help. Personalized meditations, I infuse your own personal frequency. It's like the energy shift that you need for the particular meditation that you receive. And if you're having any technology issues or anything, please email Kieran at soul33@gmail.com, all words, soul33@gmail.com, with the correct subject title. And thank you for your patience in response times. We do receive a large number of emails, and we're doing our very best to stay on top of it. And also, being an app member is only $60 a year. I set homework every week. They tie into the lessons. You've got your Soul Progression Oracle digital cards on there, the moon calendars, all sorts of things to keep you healing yourselves at an exceptionally affordable yearly fee. So Kieran, soul33@gmail.com. Okay, let's get into this week's Monday mantra. So we're beginning the week on the full moon, and like I mentioned to you last week, it's usually a week or a few days before where you start feeling the effects of the full moon if you are moon sensitive. But your Monday mantra this week is, I nourish and cultivate the lost parts of my I nourish and cultivate the lost parts of myself as renewal begins. I nourish and cultivate lost parts of myself as renewal begins. Now, with this full moon energy, it's in Gemini, so there has been this polarity, right? Because the funny thing is that I was feeling great, then I wasn't. And it's like seeing both sides of the story, seeing the polarity of life of, yes, we're spiritual beings and we have intuition and we're wanting to receive information. We still have to live here. We're still here on earth navigating the challenges of communication, of discovering who we are. So whatever this full moon has brought up for you, it might be a bit of a polarizing feelings, but it's to connect us with our natural attributes. And think of the word that I've used for this week, nourishment. What do we need to nourish? And that's why Nourished 5 is one of your homework exercises. This particular period that we are in, with DNA upgrades, with light codes, with portals, with the cycles ending and beginning, this is a period of transformation. And you might find yourself faced with decisions that present contrasting viewpoints, the polarity of viewpoints, or pieces of information that you're hearing this, but then you want to do that. And even with me making decisions, like I'm fixated on this particular thing, but then I've got resistance around it. And I'm like, what does this mean? Like, do I do it or do I not? And this is what it's meant to be like at the moment, as we're discerning and deciphering what's right for us by being in the present. How do we feel now? It's essential to let go of what no longer serves us, communicating our thoughts clearly. I did quite a bit of writing last week, like handwriting on pieces of paper to get my thoughts clear. But with Mercury now out of retrograde, these thoughts are going to come easily. You're going to be feeling into what you need more and what's the right thing to do. Use this time to see things clearly through your spiritual lens. That serves as a reminder to focus on what truly matters in your life, and take a moment to appreciate the beauty of your current stage in life. Where are you at? The metamorphosis of the butterfly. It's like this particular stage in life, there is beauty in it. Find it and nourish it, because when you nourish those areas, you will start to notice what the lost parts of you are. The lost parts are the wiser parts that are coming out for you to utilize in the work that you do, for you to be more connected in your relationships. You may find yourself guiding yourself or your family or your team, whatever that means to you. Could be spirit team, could be your physical team, could be your children, and it's towards victory, to have a conclusion on something, like, oh, we're wrapping this up now. You know, Christmas time can be a time of wrapping things up, but opening things up as well. You may be wanting to, come back to find that center, because you're feeling rattled by circumstances around you. So bring in music, shift up your emotional state. I did listen to music to shift up my emotional state. I actually saw something come up somewhere where someone said, focus on the now rather than the mood. And I loved that because I feel like, yes, we get melancholy, sad, upset, angry, but focus on the now. What have you got around you to shift your emotional state? And music is always a great way to do that. You may feel compelled to speak up about something without fear. Being cheeky or playful can help your words be received positively. So you may be needing that advice in the coming weeks of when families are getting together. You might want to say things in tongue in cheek in a joyful way so that it's received better and there's a lightness and playfulness about it. We do have the solstice coming up. Now, depending on where you are, you're going to have either the shortest day or the longest night of the year. And the solstice energy is a real time of contemplation, especially because we are at the end of the calendar year. And it's the time to reflect, it's a time to renew, it's a time to contemplate. And ancient cultures have seen the solstice time as a time of transition and renewal, celebrating the return of the light. And so as we connect with nature, this is why I'm outside today, we are gaining insight into the cycles that are unfolding in your life, and we're staying grounded in what you want to cultivate more. It's time to really enjoy and bring in the magic and the miracles that are around you if you stay still and find some stillness, to be able to recognize them. So your action this week is, what areas in your life do you need to nourish? And remember, to nourish means to support and cultivate the growth of you, your development of others, of whoever is around you, your family. It's that dragonfly view of creating that well-being and emphasizing the importance of caring for all things, for all beings, for yourself. A lot of people ask me what I'm holding in my hand. It's just a crystal. Whatever crystal I feel like picking up is what I'm holding in my hand. But just coming back to the now. So when I talk about the Monday mantra as in the lost parts of us, the lost parts are not parts where we're directionless because a new direction is coming. The lost parts are the parts that are awakening, the lost parts that are showing us what's important right now. So I want you to take a moment and close your eyes if you're not listening to this in the car, and not driving. And I want you just to take a moment to breathe into the spaces in your body where you know there are blockages. And I want you to see yourself now with the light of the solstice coming in and clearing out those blockages. And knowing that you're going to be rediscovering a part of you this week. You're going to be rediscovering a part of you that's been dormant. And the more you nourish yourself and love your life, and find the beauty and what you can be proud of, the more that you're going to renew before the new year. Remember, I'm here for you. Kieran is the person to email, soul33@gmail.com. Your Monday mantra is, I nourish and cultivate the lost parts of myself as renewal begins. So the lost parts of yourself are discovering as you go through the week, things that may be triggered, things that you may be discovering about yourself that I didn't know I had that power or that voice or that determination. Nourish that. It's like when you see a child's gifts and natural abilities, nourishing that. That's what you're doing this week. I'll see you all very soon.